10 picks, and yet your room looks deep and talented. First of all, would you agree with that assessment? And is this kind of how you envisioned it going?
Yeah, I think with Sonny and Arvell, obviously it's a good looking room. Those guys worked so hard, and they got drastically better as the season went on, I thought. And the standard was always to try to get our room to a point where you felt a healthy amount of pressure to perform, in the sense of, if I have a bad day or two, I could be passed up by the next guy because of the talent level in the room. And I constantly want that grittiness to it, because I certainly felt it when I was here. I'll never forget, I think going into junior year, being asked about Ross Homan from Coldwater by you guys. I never forget Mark Johnson and coming from LA and the hype around Mark. But it was used as motivation. And these kids now, they see it. They all know each other based on, the recruiting game has blown up even more. But I think it's healthy, because what it does is you find out the mental toughness of your room, and you got to see who can perform under pressure, and then who's going to make a play when their number's called. And then what does that do? That prepares you across the board for that when they do get an opportunity to go to the National Football League. They're not intimidated by the room and having to make a play in high pressure situations, because they've already been through it here at Ohio State. So, if you're Sonny or Arvell and you're about to go up there, those guys were used to being in a room with Cody Simon, and Cody Simon was used to being in a room with Tommy Eichenberg. And I think that's the way that you kind of envision it, is that now it's time for these guys in this room, Payton being the most experienced, to kind of see what they can do and run off with it.
Josh, when Payton just now, he was saying that this is an opportunity to be the starting Mike linebacker, is something that's been on his mind since he was on a scooter his freshman year watching other people play. Was there something he showed even during that rehab process that said, hey, this guy can be a great player?
What are you talking about?
Payton,
yeah. So I think Payton, you saw it with Payton when you recruited him. You knew what he was about, tough, instinctual. I actually started recruiting him when I was at Notre Dame. That's when I had awareness of Payton, and we actually had him come up to South Bend. And then I took the job and came back home, and it was one of the first phone calls I made. I was just trying to get them on campus, and the reason being was you knew how instinctual and tough he was, and he was a throwback Mike linebacker. And the thing that's great about Payton is he's so competitive, and he's a perfectionist and all those things, as you should be as a Mike. He's been trying to nip at the heels over and over. And honestly, I think that he has pushed the guys in front of him because of how hard he practices. He earned respect of everybody right away freshman year with how physical he was in the box. And now it's fun to kind of see him find his voice even more. I was comfortable playing Payton last year in big moments. And it was good to get a healthy rotation in with him, Arvell, and Sonny. No, I never play with a broken arm. I play with a broken rib. I did not play with a broken arm. My rib actually still sticks out, Bill, right here. I can't lay on my stomach because my rib sticks out still. But
for Christian, how impressed on you that he was able to play?
Yeah, I think I watched, when I caught wind that Christian was going to get into the portal, I honestly was like, okay, I'm going to watch 2 games. I'll watch Alabama. I'll watch them against us, because I know what our guys are at tight end. I knew what Will Kazimierz, what he was like as a blocker. And to see him with the club on in that game, fighting and the toughness. I honestly noticed his size, on the field. I was like, gosh, 0 over there is a big son of a gun. And just thought there was a veteran, we're very talented, but we're young and green. So there's a veteran. I've been in big games before. I've played the top opponents before, and the scene isn't too big. Not to say that it will be for the other guys, but you just don't know. And so it's another guy to bring in the room, I think, and just compete for playing time just like everybody else. And I tell the guys every day, your practice reps will determine how many guys that we will play and rotate. And that's reality. I hope it's 5 or 6, or it can be 2. it honestly just depends on how they prepare and really how they perform. He's done really well. I think, I think all the new guys are just trying to find their way in the new culture and how Ohio State does things. And I truly believe that we are different from other programs, the way we challenge our guys and the culture that, Ryan has here with Coach Day of like, hey, we're going to fight to be the best version of ourselves. Like, that is not easy. Like, you are going to be challenged and you are expected to be uncomfortable every single day because you grow when you're uncomfortable. And I think he's really bought into it, and he's been everything that we expected when we brought him in.
Does he have sort of the skill set to play on the? You said he's playing some edge. Does he have the skill set to kind of play on that edge, play off ball? Like, what is it? Where do you kind of like see?
Yeah,
him?
I think he did that at. I think he did that at Wisconsin. You saw him on the line of scrimmage. It was like a 9 technique. You saw him in space. You saw him off the ball in the middle. The versatility definitely was something that we liked to have. There are other guys in our room that have the same versatility. But it definitely was something that drew our attention there. And, one of the best things that Coach P always does is we're just trying to figure out how many guys can we depend on when it comes to a Saturday, and then what roles can we give them. So it's not just, old school thinking of like, here are the best 11 and we're just going to play, here's a 1 nickel group and a 1 base and a 1. It's like, okay, well, if this guy's really good at XYZ, well, let's make a package for him so that he feels like he's part of a starting, defense. It might not be in every package, So we're really just trying to figure out and evaluate what each of these guys is really good at.
How do you do learn from spring where Riley's not on the field? What can you learn about him this spring that tells you that he's going to be ready even if he's not?
Honestly, you just find out if he's mentally locked in. Ask him questions in meetings. When we do formations pre-practice, can you have him out there when it's non-contact? But you gotta figure out whether he's still keeping up with the mental side of it. Riley has all the physical tools in the world, but when you're off to the side, you got to make sure that he can stay up with all the mental install. And so you'll randomly ask him questions in the meeting room to make sure that, because it's hard. Like when you're hurt and you're off to the side and not practicing and just in the pit all day, like it's tough to stay as detailed and professional. But everyone in our room wants to get to the National Football League, and the number one thing is like the preparation when it comes to taking notes with a pad of paper and a pen and redrawing. And if you go on the field at all and you think pre-snap, like you have no chance to see what the offense is doing. Like if you're thinking about, okay, where do I align and what drop do I have? Like that's got to be so fast in your brain that you're able to look up and see, is the tight end deep, and where's the tackle's eyes? Is he looking down? Is he in a 2-point? Is he in a 3-point? Where's the quarterback IDing? And then all that tells you what plays are coming. You can't play 15 plays at one time. You can narrow it down to 3 or 4 and play really fast. But if you're out there thinking, oh, which way do I drop? You don't got a chance. And that's not what I'm saying, Ryan. I'm just saying as a linebacker in general or a defensive player, the offense will tell you a story every time. You just got to pay attention.
What is the indicator? What's the indicator that the light has come on, James, from your vantage point?
I would say reaction time to me, like I think guys really, it's reaction time to a question. But for me, it's when you are out there with your guys and you know what you're supposed to do so well and what's happening in front of you, then you take control and you own it. So if you say, hey, we're setting the front to the left, and you notice that big guy in front of you is aligned wrong, then as the Mike linebacker, you walk up, give him a nice little love tap, encourage him to move over to the right alignment, and you control it. Like that to me tells me that if you're supposed to get a call from the back end and you don't hear anything, you turn around, you clap at your safety, and you tell them, make a call. Like there's an urgency and a confidence that comes with like the volume you have out there in the field. If you're out there speaking all soft and quiet, and like it just won't work on the field. You got to be loud, because even if you're loud and wrong, all 11 will play the same call and will be together. But if you're like soft and right, like some guy, what do you say? Like it just doesn't work that way.
Has Payton showed that voice?
So far this spring,
Man, TJ has grown so much from last season, so much. Like he got so much better from fall camp to like when we were in the postseason. there's been a maturity. I think TJ learned a lot about himself through last season. There's been a maturity in the off season. There's been a seriousness of trying to find a way to get on the field and have a role, which I think TJ's done a phenomenal job. He's had a really strong start to this spring. And so I expect to see a lot of football out of TJ Alford come this fall. If everything keeps projecting, trending the way it's gone, he's a guy that he takes coaching. He works at it, and he's just gotten, it's hard to without showing you side-by-side clips of some of our stuff, but it's gotten so much better. And I think the future is just really bright for TJ.
Has Payton showed that loud, urgent voice you mentioned?
Payton's always had the loud voice to get guys lined up and all those things. And now the next step that I'd like to see is that Payton is getting his teammates aligned and he's demanding calls from the back end. And I think our communication is going really well so far with our group. But you just continue to push the envelope in the same way. The last thing you want is players to get comfortable in the sense of thinking that they've arrived or they figure, and none of our guys do. And a lot of that has been, fortunately, the way Tommy played the game, came to work, and then the way Cody played the game and came to work, and then when Sonny was able to see Cody, and then Veli was able to help with Sonny, all of it. And then these guys underneath them are now going up, and they should be doing the same thing with the freshmen. So that's hopefully the goal, but it's a fun group to work with, and I'm lucky to have a lot of good guys.